Good morning. Welcome to the webinar and matchmaking on Bull Growth. My name is Paula Madeira, and I will present this webinar organized by the Directorate-General for Maritime Policy as the Eea Grants 2014-2021, the Blue Growth Program Operator, in close cooperation with the donor program partners, Innovation Norway, Icelandic Centre of Research, Rannís, and the collaboration of the Enterprise European Network through the participation of the Portuguese Business Association and Business Iceland. This webinar and matchmaking on the Blue Growth is dedicated to the presentation of the 3 open calls in the area of business development, innovation, and SMEs. Now, I will give you some additional information concerning the rules of this webinar. This webinar is being recorded and that will be available on our website and social networks. The webinar will last approximately 2 hours. We request you to turn off your microphones. For more information, please visit the Eea Grants Portugal website on the page dedicated to the Blue Growth Program. We have the pleasure to announce the Director General for Maritime Policy, Helena Vieira. Please, Helena, take the floor.
Me? Yes? Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to virtual Portugal. Dear Ambassador of Norway, dear Head of the National Focal Point, dear Administrator of the Portuguese Business Association, dear Donor Program Partner, dear participants and friends. Welcome. DGPM is the Eea Grants Blue Growth Program Operator, and we are organizing this webinar and matchmaking on Blue Growth dedicated to the presentation of the currently 3 open calls in the area of business development, innovation, and SMEs. The objective of this event is to promote bilateral partnerships and to identify cooperation opportunities between companies in Portugal and potential partners in Norway and Iceland operating in the blue economy sector for you to be able to make consortiums for the project applications to the open calls, but also, if not for now, to strengthen the bilateral relation between Portuguese, Norwegian, and Icelandic entities and companies. So please take advantage of the variety of presences here today. The Blue Growth Program main objective is to increase value creation and sustainable growth in Portuguese blue economy. In general, the intention of the funding we provide is to increase business, research, and promote education and training in marine and maritime areas. The Blue Growth Program will contribute to the overall objective of reducing economic and social disparities between countries and strengthen the bilateral relation through funding of different projects within the 5 outcomes under the following 3 program areas. So we have 70% of the program for blue growth, business development, innovation, and SMEs, and then the remaining 30% of the program for research, education, scholarships, apprentices, and youth entrepreneurship. Nowadays, with this new reality, we have so many challenges and priorities that I truly believe that the sea and all of its new projects, developments, products, and technologies are part of the answer to the recovery and to achieve a better future and sustainable planet in the next years to come. So thank you very much. Please enjoy this webinar. Take full advantage of what the team has prepared for you, because that's the main goal. Although not physically, we believe the format is designed for you to make good use of it. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Helena. Now we have the pleasure to announce the head of the National Focal Point, Eea Grants Portugal, Susana Ramos.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all. A special greeting to the Ambassador of the Royal Embassy of Norway, Mrs. Tove Bruvik Westberg, and to Director General for Maritime Policy, Mrs. Helena Vieira, and of course to all participants in today's webinar. I'm very pleased to see that a large number of entities have joined these events. As head of the National Focal Point of Eea Grants in Portugal, it is a great pleasure to join this event, so important to reinforce the synergies between Portugal and the donor states. The history of the Eea Grants in Portugal represents an essential support in priority sectors such as the blue economy, environment protection, adaptation to climate change, and promotion of renewable energy, strengthening civil society, social and human development, and the protection of cultural heritage. In total, and over the years, the Eea Grants have benefited Portugal with over 300 million euros in non-repayable grants and 315 million euros in financial instruments, which has allowed to fund a total of 252 projects, a figure that will significantly increase with the projects that will be implemented under the current financial mechanism. I would like to underline the importance of the current financial mechanism in Portugal. Here in Portugal, we benefit of a global allocation of more than 100 million euros to support 5 different programs. The Blue Growth Program, dedicated to the blue economy with the objective to increase value creation and sustainable growth. This program covers 3 different areas: the business development, innovation and small and medium enterprises, but also the research and education, scholarships, apprenticeships, and youth entrepreneurship. The C represents an area of natural cooperation between Portugal and the donor countries, and of course this event intends to reinforce this cooperation. I would like also to talk a little bit about the environment program. And this program has the aim to fight against climate change and the promotion of a low carbon economy with special emphasis on the circular economy, including also a component of biodiversity conservation. We have also the cultural program, and this program intends to protect the natural and cultural heritage and to promote the arts, and is directed to projects that promote social and economic development through cooperation, entrepreneurship, and cultural management. We have also the work-life balance and gender equality program. And this program intends to support projects aiming to promote work-life balance, including greater sharing of parental responsibilities, gender equality, and fight against gender-based violence. We have also the Active Citizens Fund, which intend to support civil society initiatives, and this program reflects a firm recognition of the role of the third sector as an active agent in promoting democratic governance, human rights, and social cohesion across Europe. Lastly, a note about the Fund for Bilateral Relations, which has 2 million euros of allocation and is managed by the national focal points jointly with the representatives of the donor countries and the Portuguese Ministry for Foreign Affairs. And the objective is to strengthening not only the already established cooperation into the programs or through the programs, but also to explore new areas of bilateral interests with Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway, of course. And it is my intention to highlight that a significant progress has been achieved despite the challenging context that we all face currently. All predefined projects with a total amount of over 13 million euros were approved. 22 out of initially 24 open calls under the current period were launched. 2 open calls were relaunched with unallocated funds from the first round of calls. Selection committees for the majority of the open calls took place and provisionally select a total of 142 projects with a total financial commitment estimated at 37 million euros. From the total projects selected so far, 81 projects are in partnership with donor states entities, which represents an impressive 57%. Events such as the present one foster and promote bilateral partnerships at the project level, and we expect that the open calls under the Blue Growth Program continue to select meaningful and important partnerships in the blue economy area. I suggest that you can follow the information regarding the implementation of Eea Grants in Portugal through our website, social networks, and downloading our app, where you can be informed about the launch of the open calls in any area, but also you can find similar entities from Iceland, Liechtenstein or Norway for future partnerships. Finally, I would like to wish you success for your partnerships and future applications and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Susana Ramos. Now we have the pleasure and the privilege to announce the Administrator of the Portuguese Business Association, Paulo Vaz.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of AEP, Portuguese Business Association, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, more particularly on behalf of the Enterprise Europe Network, it's my pleasure and honor to be considered and invited to be part of the Blue Growth Eea Grants Webinar Matchmaking event. First of all, I would like to thank the Directorate General of Marine Policy of the Portuguese Ministry of the Sea for starting this collaborative approach with EEN and at EAP that has already proved its worth for Portuguese SMEs. My first words are, as well, to all of you that are attending this webinar, to the representatives of Innovation Norway and Iceland Ocean Cluster, our counterparts at EEN, and especially to Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Norway. Actually, I'm delighted to participate in this session, largely because the increase of long-term benefits on the sustainable use of marine resources, something that is on our DNA, not only in the AP, but also in business and scientific communities at municipalities in our coastal region. For sure, we can say that the economy of the sea assumes in Portugal a dimension still far below from its very significant potential. So there is an enormous margin for growth and development that we cannot and should not fail to take advantage of. Mentioning the great options 2005 of the Portuguese 2025 of the Portuguese government, Portugal's geostrategic positioning should be based on the development of its maritime nature, its marine resources, its technological skills, and its maritime tradition. In our country, it is still very necessary to foster the development, support, and financing of a more sustainable, resilient, innovative, and digital sea economy, aligned with the needs of the next decade and based on qualified entrepreneurship, scientific knowledge, and technological innovation for a new era of blue reindustrialization. Sustainable development implies that economic development is both inclusive and environmentally healthy, and to be undertaken in a manner that does not deplete the natural resources that societies depend on in the long term. Forests are very relevant, and so are the oceans. After all, Earth should be greener and bluer. In order to do so, it is essentially that we all make every effort to balance the social, economic, and environmental components of sustainable development in relation to oceans, whose health is drastically declining. Our motto from now on should be business as unusual. We all know that only a healthy ocean will be able in the long term to support the development of sustainable, circular, and inclusive sea economy. We must acknowledge, value, and respect all the benefits that ocean has to offer, reducing carbon dioxide emissions, avoiding plastic pollution, fighting unsustainable fishing, and promoting countless other efforts. The ocean already has its share of industry, shipping, undersea cables, offshore oil and gas, fishing, tourism, and more. So, the world's economy activity must be balanced with the long-term capacity of ocean ecosystems. To transform Europe into an ocean continent, the ocean economy must be promoted as one of its main pillars of development. The economy of the sea has a multiplier effect on a high diversity of economy activities with a big potential of innovation. And the Blue Growth Programme open calls that are being presented today are a remarkable example of how one can be stimulated growth in oceans-related sectors. Indeed, these three open calls are designed to drive growth by investments that are focused on resource efficiency of marine-related enterprises, startups, and business development and innovation, bridging the gap between Portuguese, Norwegian, and Icelandic potential partners. I am confident that sharing, collaboration, circularity will be at the center of those future ocean-based partnerships and will not only generate economic growth and job creation, but will also reduce food loss and waste along the value chain, poverty and inequalities. Based on this background, it's only natural that AEP, the Portuguese Business Association, is an enthusiastic supporter of this initiative. I firmly believe that the sea economy sector will play an important role in the economic recovery of Europe and fundamentally of our country. From my experience, I know that achievements come from a collaborative effort. So finally, I wish you all a fruitful session and all the best collaborations in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have the honor to announce the Ambassador of Norway, Your Excellency Tove Bruvik Westberg.
Good morning everyone. It's a great honor to be here. Director General for Maritime Policy, Helena Vieira, Head of the National Focal Point, Susana Ramos, Administrator of the Portuguese Business Association, Paulo Vaz, ladies and gentlemen. And just now I was looking at the number of participants already having turned more than 100. It's amazing. So already congratulations to DGPM for organizing this one. The benefits of working together for a sustainable blue economy are unquestionable. The initiative of organizing this webinar and matchmaking is therefore highly valuable for all of us, and I think we already have good indications that this will be a success. Norway and Portugal share an ocean together, and together also make up over 50% of the European maritime coast. We share social, economic, environmental interests in connection to our common ocean, which is also our common future, as I think was already indicated in the former speeches. Within the blue economy, the interdependence between coastal countries is evident. Frontiers are hard to define, national regulations are hard to enforce, actions cause consequences thousands of kilometers away. But Norway and Portugal, and Norway and Iceland, and Portugal and Iceland are all long-time partners and are very experienced in cooperating with each other. The Eea Grants, the financial mechanism through which Norway and Iceland contribute towards cohesion in Europe, provide solid grounds for cooperation to thrive in a competitive economic environment. The allocation, as we have already heard, for the Blue Growth Programme in Portugal is the highest among all programs. A total of 44.7 million euros is allocated to the programme, of which almost 28 million are directed at business development, innovation and SMEs. And here I would also like to add a very special thank to Innovation Norway for being really the good partner in promoting this program. The allocation is already contributing to the increase of competitiveness for companies working in the blue economy. It is also contributing to the promotion of resource efficiency in the maritime sector. The synergies between Norway and Portugal's areas of knowledge and competence are fruitful, and I think past experiences show us that. We know that cooperative work leads to accomplishment that solo work could never attain. The resources and the opportunities are here to be seized by you and your partners. The aim is to multiply these resources into greater competence, mutual benefit, and sustainable development. So today you have the opportunity to take a step further in the establishment of partnerships that will be crucial for the development of business and innovation projects within the blue growth sector. I really hope that you use this opportunity and find partners for your ideas and your initiatives, and that we can all be accompanying many good results as we move along. I wish you a good working session and, again, fruitful partnerships. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was mute. Sorry. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. So now we will have the presentation of the Blue Growth Program. I have the pleasure to announce Mrs. Sandra Silva, Head of Program Operator from Directorate General for Maritime Policy.
Thank you, Paula. Hello, good morning. I'm Sandra Silva. I will make a presentation regarding the Blue Growth Program and especially these 3 calls that are open now. So let me share my screen. Please let me know if you are seeing the presentation in the right way.
No, we are not. It's perfect now. Thank you.
It's good now?
Perfect, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
So, in general, our program, as was explained before, it's a program that the main objective is to increase value creation and sustainable growth. The total amount of this program is 44.7 million euros, and we count with collaboration with 4 donor program partners: the Innovation Norway, Rannís for Iceland, the Research Council from Norway, and also DECO from Research Council from Norway, also DECO also from Norway. And why we have these 4 different partners? Because our program has 3 main areas, as was explained before. The main area is the business development, innovation, and SMEs, but it also has a programmatic area regarding research and other regarding education. This is the path that we've been through until now. We have already launched 6 calls, and now we have 3 calls launching. That is what I will present to you in a broader way. So the first call I would like to present is the call number 2, Business Development, Innovation and SMEs. This call has a total available amount of almost 3 million euros. It will be closed on the 3rd of June 2021. The maximum and minimum grant amount that will be funded for projects will be 1,200,000 euros, and the maximum grant rate to these projects will be until 70%. The main objectives of this call, first of all, is to increase competitiveness for Portuguese companies between the areas of the blue growth. Also develop, apply and/or commercialize innovative products and technologies. Promote cooperation between enterprises and research institutions in order to foster user-driven research-based innovation, in order to promote these products, service and technology to bring innovation. Apply innovative blue technologies, processes or solutions that could be new to the enterprises and throughout productive investments to increase production capacity. And also, of course, this is the reason we are here today, to establish and strengthen cooperation between Portugal and donor states, mainly Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein. The overall sectors within the blue economy that are in the scope of this call, I should say it's all of them, and we can have projects regarding fishes, aquaculture, innovative products, production process or technologies, fish and seafoods transformation, ocean renewable energy, maritime digitalization. I will read all of them, but as you see, blue biotechnology, nautical tourism, carbon sequestration basis business, well, it's an open scope of the sectors that can be funded regarding this call. The Blue Growth Program has main outcomes and would like to achieve targets that are identified in our program. And so the projects that will be selected will contribute to achieve these goals, these targets. So for this specific call regarding the outcome increased competitiveness for Portuguese enterprises, we'll expect to have an estimated annual growth in the net operational profit of 5%, have 15 innovative technologies, process solutions applied, 10 new products, technologies commercialized, 25 new products, technologies developed, achieve 45 jobs created, and 10 new intellectual property rights. In this call, the types of projects that are on the scope is develop innovative products and technologies and processes, commercialize also innovative products, technologies and processes, apply innovative solutions, and also a business development from early innovation stage up to testing of new technologies and supporting their first presentation to the market. In a general way, the maximum duration of these projects should be 2 years. Regarding the call number 3, the resource efficiency of enterprises in marine sector, the call namely regarding circular economy, as a total available amount of €1.5 million, and the maximum and the minimum grant amount is €7,500,000 and the minimum €200,000, and also have as maximum grant rate of 17%. This call will be closed in 31 of May of this year. The main objectives of this call is to finance enterprises to apply innovative products and technologies, and also to greater resource efficiency throughout the circular economy approach, supporting business using marine litter as raw material or creating conditions to collect litter to be used as a secondary raw material elsewhere. It also has the objective to carbon sequestration-based business throughout algae reforestation that will increase the production of marine resources per unit of sea area. This is increased resources efficiency in or other forms of carbon sequestration business, including seagrass beds and production. And also another objective is to establish and strengthen cooperation between Portugal and donor states. Here we also have some goals to achieve under the outcome number 2, and this is we would like to end our program with the 150 tons annual collection of marine litter for reuse or recycling, 100 tons annual reuse of processed marine litter, and the carbon sequestration basin solution developed. Regarding the types of projects that are in the scope of this call, it should be projects that will develop and apply innovative technologies, process and solutions in order to green the business operations in marine sector throughout circular economy, reduce material and resource inputs and or minimize the generation of waste, the collection of marine litter, and the recycling and reuse of processed or unprocessed marine litter. It also has a typology of projects regarding develop carbon sequestration based climate mitigation and or ecosystems recovery business throughout algae reforestation and other nature-based solutions. In this case, we also would like to select projects with a duration of, in general ways, of 2 years. And the third call, the other call is the call regarding the initiatives for business growth in startups. It has a total available amount around €1 million, and the maximum and minimum grant amount per project will be between €150,000 or €50,000. And the maximum rate for this call will be until 80%. And also this call will be closer in the 31 of May of this year. The main objectives of this call are very similar to the objectives of the call number 2 that I mentioned previously, is to increase also competitiveness for Portuguese companies, also to finance initiative business in startups to develop, apply and or commercialize innovative products and technologies, promote cooperation between enterprises and research institutions, and also establish and strengthen cooperation between Portugal and donor states. In this call, the same scope of the sectors will be could be applied between the blue economy. And here also it will the project selected under this call will be contributing for the same targets that I presented before for this outcome number 1, but it has one more regarding the startups. This is survival rate of startups shall be 50% measured from 1 year that of the last day of the eligibility period of the projects. In this call, the types of projects also have the focus to develop and commercialize innovative technologies, process and solutions, apply innovative blue technologies, process solutions with the main objective to increase the competitiveness and sustainability, develop from early innovation stage up to testing of new technologies and supporting their first presentation to the market, and apply new technologies, process and solutions that directly or indirectly improve the environmental performance. And here also we should have projects with an average duration of 2 years. Just to give one more information regarding the common eligibility of the promoters of these 3 calls. So the eligible promoters should be SMEs or larger enterprises with no more than 25% of public ownerships and should be established as legal persons in Portugal. Regarding the startups called, they must comply with this rule. They must have been established for at least 6 months prior to the deadline of the application and they must have been in operation for no more than 5 years. Regarding the partners, eligible partners are any public or private entity, commercial or non-commercial, as well as non-governmental organizations established as legal persons either in Portugal or in the donor states. Natural persons are not eligible for funding in this cause, and each promoter may submit only one application, but they can participate up into more applications as partners. This is all for now regarding the explanations of this call. I know it was a little bit too much information, but we will have the opportunity to present and to promote more webinars focused on these calls and give more sections for clarifications. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sandra Silva. And now I have the pleasure to announce Mr. Magnar Odilian from Innovation Norway. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you, and dear participants. I'll try to share my screen as well, and hopefully that will work. Okay, can you see it in the correct way?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. As already said, I'm representing Innovation Norway, one of the 4 donor program partners in this program, and actually then the main Norwegian partner for the innovation part of the program, the part we are discussing today. And the bilateral ambition has already been mentioned, and I will elaborate a little bit more on the bilateral ambition, because that's in line with the overall objectives of Eea Grants. Is also important in this program. We can actually say that this program has 2 main objectives. The first one is the value creation in Portuguese companies, mainly SMEs, as you saw from the presentation from Sandra. And the second ambition is to develop and facilitate further the bilateral relations then between Portuguese companies and entities from the donor states, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. And the entities from the donor states, that will be both companies, research institutes, and so on, also in the innovation part of the program. We all know that we are in difficult times. It's a challenge now to facilitate the bilateral ambitions. The work on that is hit rather hard of the restrictions, because it's kind of difficult to find partners when you are not able to meet them. So we need to find alternative ways, and the event today is of course an example of that. And we can also see in some programs, not necessarily in this one, but that the COVID situation has also led to a situation where we had to extend deadlines for calls and do some other adaptations. But still, we are working on the bilateral ambition, and as I said, this is one way to work to still be able to do that. Because I'll just show you this picture. This is how it used to look like when we had events like this. This seems to be from an innovation program matchmaking and the information part, and usually they have been followed then by a matchmaking speed dating between companies. That will take place today as well, but not in the format of small tables within a big room, but then online. But hopefully this will still work for you, and we really hope that we will see many partnerships between Portuguese companies and entities from the donor states. And what we can see from the participant list today is mainly Norwegian and Icelandic entities that are relevant. Liechtenstein, as you know, is a very small country, so they are not that often involved in such matchmakings. But why then cooperation? Is it only to fulfill then the bilateral ambitions of the Eea Grants? No, of course not. It's a substantial thing that cooperation is sometimes that 1 + 1 will be more than 2. So that is an important starting point for why we want to see project cooperation. And as you saw from the presentation of Sandra, the applicant will always be from Portugal. It will be a Portuguese company. So that is different from perhaps what you are used to in research programs, where we have more a consortium-based approach. But in the business part of it, the entity in the driver's seat will always be a Portuguese company, but they are then allowed to include partners in the projects, and that would be not only partners from the donor state. They could also, for instance, have a partner from Portugal. But of course, the role and the objective of the donor program partners is, of course, to facilitate and try to achieve as many donor program partnerships as possible. And the activities will differ from project to project, but the starting point is always that we would like to see then a shared results of the project between then the promoter and the partner. That will be something in it for all that participate, and that could be exchange of experience. It could be specific sector expertise. It could be adjustment of technology, knowledge related to that, and it of course could be research and development partners. Also in the innovation part of the program, that a Portuguese company will then have a research and development project, developing a product that hopefully will be then reach the market, if not within the implementation of the project, but soon after that. So it will have an impact on the value creation of the company. Okay, I'll find the next one. I think I have a technical problem with this. I think I'm stuck somewhere.
Yes, you are. Miguel, can you help, please?
We can see the previous slide, but not the next one.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm kind of.
Maybe stop sharing and reshare again. Might be.
I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will stop presenting and I will try to share again. Sorry about this.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Oh, I think I have the same problem.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
We see a different one now. It's moving.
Is it moving? But you can still only see this.
Moving backward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not able to move it into the right direction. That's the problem. There, probably.
That's strange.
Now you can see it.
Yeah.
The next one. Yes. Because I wanted to say something about how to find a partner. And I will, of course, mainly then focus on how to find Norwegian partners, since that is the task of Innovation Norway. I know that you also have some tools to hopefully find some Icelandic partners. But as regards to find Norwegian partners, it is possible to find a quite simple database of possible partners on the web site of Innovation Norway. You can see the address to that one on this slide, and you can also see the address to the partnership database of the Norwegian Research Council, because for some of the companies, it will probably be relevant to try to find a research partner. But in Innovation Norway, we have even one more important tool, and that is the Explorer. That is a showroom for green Norwegian solutions, and you will also there find a lot of solutions within the blue area. The Explorer was launched by the Norwegian Prime Minister a couple of years ago, and she labeled it Tinder for businesses. I think the advantage of this one compared to the other Tinder is that the profiles are thoroughly vetted. You can't just put your profile up at the Explorer. It will be vetted by sector expertise that will allow for the solution to be showcasted then at the Explorer. And actually we can already see in some programs, even in Portugal, that some project promoters, they have found their partner at the Explorer. It's said that it's more than 100 solutions, but it's way more than 100 solutions now because it's moving all the time. And it's possible then to use the Explorer and to search on a topic. And if you then got a hit and seems you see that this looks interesting, then it's quite easy to register and then get to the detail and contact details even for then the companies you find there. So I will encourage those of you that are looking for partners to check the Explorer. As I said, already some project promoters within the Eea Grants, even in Portugal, they have found a partner there. Some last messages. It's always takes time to find a partner. That is a challenge, especially when we see that the call for proposals are open for a rather short period of time. So, but still, it is important that the project promoter and the potential partner take the time to discuss in detail what would be then the role of the different participants in the project. What will be the role of the project promoters? That will usually be easy to define, but perhaps more difficult to define and even more important to define is then the role of the partner in the project. What will be the contribution of the partner in the project? That should be very clear in the application, because otherwise it will not be possible for DGPM to assess the applications if it's unclear what will be the contribution of the partner to the project of the Portuguese company. And that of course also include then what will be the share of the budget and for what kind of activities will the partner get funding. This is really important. And that, as you know, those of you that have prepared applications for different financial schemes, whether they are national or international, for instance, EU programs as well, you know that it takes time to define this in a good way. So you should not wait until the last week before the deadline of the call to try to find a partner, because that is simply too late. You will not be in the position to prepare the application in a good way. So start as soon as possible, and hopefully some of you will find a possible match at this event today. And then you should waste no time, but agree on follow-up meetings and to discuss the details in the potential project that you will prepare. So with that, I will just wish you good luck, and we really hope to see some good partnerships. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Magna. Now, I have the pleasure to announce Ms. Thorsig Funsen, founder of and chairman of Iceland Ocean Cluster.
Good morning to all of you, and great to be with you. It's a great opportunity to have a dialogue now with these countries about the opportunities that we have to create growth in the North Atlantic and Portugal. I'd like to share with you some slides of interest, I hope, and see if we can start a dialogue afterwards. The Iceland Ocean Cluster is basically a private cluster which focuses on matchmaking and creating value through this matchmaking. We have within our organization companies in most of these areas that I'm showing you here. Of course, fisheries and fish processing being the largest, with ocean technology as well, but growing other parts of the Icelandic blue economy. And what I would like to do is to give you some insights into where the growth potentials are and where we've been growing fastest in recent years. And if we look at this picture here, we'll see some of the areas that have been fastest growing in Iceland right now. Aquaculture is showing now, both in terms of land-based and sea-based, is growing quite fast. Fish processing technology is, of course, in many ways has been leading the way. We see also other smaller parts growing quite fast. I'll go through them a little bit further in my presentation. Fisheries, of course, being so tech savvy, is not growing as fast. But what's interesting is many of the startups that we've seen have been developed in close collaboration with the fishing sector. So they've been very much involved with companies not only in fish processing, but also in marine biotech and in other fields. What I would like to tell you is that what I think is quite interesting with the Icelandic model is that we see that there is this ecosystem around the fishing, which is making the industry much stronger. So we don't only have the fisheries themselves, we have now significant sizable companies, world leaders in fish processing technology. We have also both leaders and startups in the fish shelf life technology, artificial intelligence, traceability. So there is this ecosystem around the whole blue economy with regards to seafood that I think is one of the strengths of the blue economy in Iceland. And it's probably best shown by showing this picture, which actually indicates that the dynamism in the fish processing sector in Iceland. In 2014, per hour in a fish factory would be around 8 tons. Now it's up to 50 tons. It's basically the growth that I'm focusing on here. So it's more than 6 times growth in terms of the efficiency due to new technology. And you can see how short the time period is. So it's quite amazing to see that only in 7 years, we're seeing 6 times growth. Excuse me. The same is with fishing ships. The processing on board vessels, the supercooling and no waste is a huge issue for all of us. And I think close collaboration has already been made between Norway and Iceland with respect to the developing of new technology on board ships and the processing technology, etc. So there are lots of opportunities with regards to both the processing and the on land as well as with the ships themselves. The other thing that I wanted to focus on a little bit is basically the high growth in land and sea-based aquaculture ecosystems in Iceland. This has also been a close collaboration between Norway and Iceland, and we see lots of opportunities in this area. There is an ecosystem there. One thing that I would like to stress is that what I would like to see Iceland do here is to use our world-class ecosystem in fish processing to do better in aquaculture than all other nations that we are in dialogue with. Meaning that I would like to see not exports of whole fish, but rather using our ecosystem to develop all kinds of byproducts from the salmon and other land-based and sea-based fish farming to create jobs in coastal areas, to create all kinds of ocean proteins. And that's one of the things that I would very much like to see come out of a project like we're talking about here, is this continuance with the value line that I'll talk a little bit more about. The issue here is huge. If we only talk about the whitefish, we are probably talking about 300,000 to 400,000 metric tons of North Atlantic cod byproducts that are used for dump sites or thrown into the ocean every year. And we are, of course, in Iceland, we are world leaders in utilizing whitefish. We are now up to 80% usage of each cod. We see most of the nations that we have around us using around 50 to 60%. We would like to see a strong collaboration to create some dynamic network where we can use our knowledge and our ideas from different countries to create value from these byproducts. Keep in mind, these are not any byproducts. These are the most sustainable, natural, and traceable proteins in the world that we're actually using for dump sites. So this is unacceptable in the North Atlantic, and we should focus on making a difference here as soon as possible. I would like to take just a few minutes to tell you this is what we call the incredible fish value machine made in Iceland. We would like to see this in the whole of the North Atlantic, meaning that we're actually saying there's no waste in the seafood industry. And we have all the opportunities. We can create the enzymes from the intestines, we can do the cod roast, we can do fish leather, we can do collagen, we can do medicine, of course, the omega fish oil, which we have already established industries in the north. So there are lots of opportunities here. But I think one of the things that we have to do here is to build a little bit stronger ecosystem around the byproducts. And in Iceland, we have at least now a strong startup field in the ocean proteins, with technology also being provided by some of the tech companies. We have beauty products from the byproducts of the fish. We have various types of food and food tech also as a part of that. And we have one of the fastest growing industries, startup in Iceland, which is the marine biotech. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But I would like just to give you an example, because it's really crucial here, I think, to bring the numbers in. If we take just the example of the fish skin. Fish skin is around 3 to 5%, 3 to 4% of the total amount of fish. It means that only in Iceland we might have around 4,000 to 5,000 metric tons of fish skin. In the past, it was thrown away. The cluster started to initiate collaboration between the seafood industry in Iceland and research institutions like Matís and startups. And we started to look into areas that could be of interest. This was the most established industry already in place when the Iceland Ocean Cluster was established 10 years ago. There was a company in the north part of Iceland called Atlantic Leather, which is actually still up and running. It's creating all kinds of leather products from salmon skin, cod skin, etc. Just to give you an example, we might be talking about around $50 per kilo if the value creation is through the leather products. Which is what another product that's actually now being initiated and is owned now by some of the largest fisheries in Iceland is to take the fish skin and create collagen protein made out of fish skin. Today, the value of the bulk product is around $20 per kilo. Keep in mind, I'm still talking about products that in most countries are thrown away. This is creating jobs in coastal areas And this is creating interesting, valuable protein for a world that is in need of protein. If we take this product further into products, that has been one of the most important tasks of the Iceland Ocean Cluster, is to find startups that can actually do something with it other than being just the bulk product. We have fascinating examples of that. One of the best ones that's been in the Iceland Ocean Cluster is basically a company called Feel Iceland that has both done collagen retail products from it, mixed it also with enzymes, and then one of the most popular drinks in Iceland is actually now a fish soda. Can you imagine? There's a fish soda drink in Iceland now that's one of the most popular ones, and it just shows us the opportunities. We sometimes think that the whole seafood industry is not of interest to the common public, and it seems to be a lot sort of smelly vibe around it, but the fact is people know what kind of quality there is in the oceans, and we can create marketing around it. The greatest pride of the Icelandic innovation industry in the blue economy is definitely a company called Keresis, where they are taking the fish skin and creating a wound care, and for the fish here, we might be talking about around $2,000 per fish if this wound care is used for people having difficulties having their wound healed, the fish skin becoming wound care. So basically, our message is that we can do much more than we do today, and a project like we're working on right now with the EEA should actually emphasize, and does emphasize, not only on the whitefish, it might be all types of seafood products, algae, seaweed, and what have you, but the idea is for us to do better with these products, respect them, rather than throwing them away. Let's find a way to create value. And the most important part here, I would say, is definitely look at the value chain and figure out ways to move further up this ladder. In Iceland, we started with the raw material in the 60s, 70s, and 80s up to animal food. Then we've been steadily moving up this value line, creating so much value. Being a fishing society, we are quite proud of the fact that we can say that we are using more of each fish. We are creating all kinds of valuable, high-value products from the seafood. So we're not only respecting the environment, but we're also making sure that we can create jobs. I would like to sort of finally talk about some of the up and coming in the industry in Iceland. And I think what we are seeing is that seaweed is growing quite fast. We have quite a lot of Icelandic companies now moving into the seaweed industry. We're really pleased to see beauty products also in various forms with regards to both seaweed and with regards to whitefish as well. Lots of startups that are coming out now at this moment that would love to have some collaboration. We have also interesting companies in fishing gear, both with regards to the nets and just the fishing gear in general. We have also companies that are coming with new ideas where they are using light to capture the fish. We have companies that are in green ships. We have fleet management as well. Interesting IT companies that are coming with fleet management, microalgae. We have ocean proteins, as I mentioned. We have artificial intelligence, and I could go on for quite a while talking about it. The main thing is that if you look at the whole picture, there is quite a lot of dynamism in this small economy of ours. But I think the strength comes from collaboration. And that's where we've seen in Iceland, for instance, the close collaboration between our research institutes like MATIS, the research universities, the industry itself, which of course has the mindset to do more, and a strong startup environment where the Iceland Ocean Cluster has played a part, has been crucial in this respect. I'm quite pleased also to tell you that we have already opened 5 clusters in the US, where there is a lot of interest in our model of building both the Iceland Ocean Cluster model in different states, but also to have what we have here is called the Ocean Cluster House, which is now already has opened in Portland, Maine. We have already been in touch now with people in Portugal that have shown interest in coming with similar ideas as we have with regards to strengthening our model there. So if you want more information, please do not hesitate to contact us at Ocean Cluster. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll have a moment dedicated to the promoters' presentation. They will have to show 3 projects with partnership and showcases. I announce Mr. Felipe Vilas-Boas, co-founder and of C4Us, presenting Blue Biotech for Pain. Please take the floor.
Good morning. Let me try to share the screen. Okay, can you please confirm that you are seeing the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so I am Felipe Vilas-Boas from the biotech company C4Us, the promoter of Blue Biotech for Pain, a project that has recently started. I would like to start by thanking for the opportunity for presenting Blue Biotech for Pain and the importance of its consortium. This project, Blue Biotech for Pain, aims at developing a novel analgesic molecule obtained from a marine bacterium for the treatment of chronic pain. But to better explain this project, I need to explain first how this all started. So, some years ago, our divers from C4Us collected a sponge in Sagres, in the southwest of Portugal, from which we isolated the marine bacteria. These bacteria produce many compounds that may have interesting bioactivities for several applications, including for pharmaceuticals, which is the main focus at C4Us. In the lab, we tested such compounds to see if they had, for instance, analgesic bioactivities in order to develop a new pharmaceutical drug to treat chronic pain. And as a result, we isolated one molecule that modulated the activity of certain ion channels that are therapeutic targets for pain treatment. And this molecule showed good efficacy levels in ex vivo and in vivo assays using animal models. And this was the start of a project for developing this new analgesic drug. But at that time, we had a marine bacterium that produced an analgesic compound, but to continue preclinical tests and then clinical tests required to develop a new pharmaceutical product, we would need to produce very large amounts of this molecule. And this was how Blue Biotech for Pain came to life. It aims at the optimization and scale-up of the biotechnological production method of this analgesic compound. To take this analgesic to market, we'll have to undergo several steps of research and development. And within this Blue Biotech for Pain project, these include 4 activities: optimization of compound production, further bioactivity tests and toxicity assays, the scale-up of production, and management and communication of the project. Of course, these activities are divided into different tasks that require different areas of expertise, ranging from bacterial growth to mutagenesis, chemical extractions, electrophysiology, animal assays, fermentation at pilot scale, intellectual property, among others. But C4Us by itself does not have all the required expertise, as you can see there. So, because of this, we joined forces with other partners that have the required skills and formed a consortium that allows this project to progress further. So the Blue Biotech for Pain consortium is C4Us, a biotechnology company that is the project promoter from Portugal, and 3 additional partners: Novel Medical School, a university and research institute, also from Portugal; the University of Tromsø from Norway, that importantly was previously involved in the identification of the chemical structure of the molecule, that is the focus of this project; and finally, SINTEF, a research institute, also from Norway. And within the universities and institutes, we are collaborating with the specific groups here indicated. So now, looking at each member of the consortium individually, C4Us has expertise in scuba diving, bioprospection, electrophysiology, animal models, efficacy and safety proof of concept, intellectual property, and business development, among others. In this project, it will apply its knowledge of electrophysiology and in vivo assays, and also intellectual property and pharmaceutical business. In turn, the lab of Paulo Paixão at Novel Medical School works on bacterial and viral identification, bacterial cultures, and molecular biology. In this project, it will focus on microbiology and growth optimization. Norway, the lab of Jeanette Hammer Anderson at the University of Tromsø has expertise in high-throughput screening and natural products drug discovery. In this project, it will use its expertise in bioactivity and toxicity testing. And finally, the labs of Harvard Sletta at SINTEF have expertise in high-throughput screening, industrial biotechnology, and marine biotechnology and bioprospecting. And in this project, they will employ their expertise on strain and fermentation process development and scale-up. So, going back to the previous roadmap slide, as you can see, with our partners, we were able to fill the gaps of expertise that were missing to allow the successful execution of this project. And with this, I hope to have shown you that in many situations, it is important to join together with partners that may complement your own areas of expertise, allowing the execution of projects that otherwise you would not be able to execute. So if you think that this is your case, then please do seize the opportunities of today's matchmaking event. And thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much. Now we'll watch a short video from Alga Plus dedicated to the SolCap project, followed by the presentation of Mrs. Helena Abril, Alga Plus Managing Director.
The SolCap project takes advantage of the existing knowledge of the two leading and pioneer seaweed farmers in Europe, Seaweed Solutions, a kelp farmer in Norway, and us, specialized in the tank cultivation of red and green species. Together, we want to increase the supply of EU farmed kelp and the red seaweed dulse, or as we say in Norwegian, sol, and that's why we called our project SolCap. We also count on the support of 2 R&D Portuguese centers and 1 technology-based company. The project has 3 main axes of development, and they all bring new business opportunities for the companies involved. The first will be the refurbishment of our existing hatchery in order that we can have the conditions to accommodate the production of kelp seedlings that will assure the constant supply to the grow-out phase at sea, as well as to promote the development of new R&D projects using kelp. The second line will be the grow-out phase trials planned by Seaweed Solutions that my colleague Frank will present later. And lastly, we will also have the cultivation of palmaria in tanks happening both in Norway and in Portugal.
While the cultivation of brown seaweeds or kelps is already a huge economic activity in Asia with species like kombu and wakame, in Europe we are only now starting to understand the commercial value of these species, and activities start mainly in Northern Europe, especially in Norway, where there exist excellent conditions to start this. However, space will probably run out at some stage, just as it has for other aquaculture species. And Portugal is a very, very good place to envision large-scale farms in the offshore. But there are technical challenges, serious technical challenges related to the full exposure to the ocean forces. So the SolCap project includes 2 areas for scoping trials with local species in order to evaluate the future potential and the potential challenges of aquaculture of this high-value, low-trophic species.
The second cultivation activity of the project will be to farm our red seaweed dulse in Norwegian sol. So here at Alga Plus, we've been farming dulse since 2013, different varieties, but we can only do it during our colder months from October normally up to April. The objective of the project will be to test our production technology in Norway in the infrastructure of Seaweed Solution, and thus be able to supply the EU market with a year-round supply of high-quality farming of this special biomass.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. So
Yes.
Thank you so much. So we decided hello to everyone, and thanks for having us here presenting our project. My colleague Frank is there in the audience. I don't know if we have someone from our other partners involved, CIMAR, the Instituto Hidrográfico, and Intusi. But anyway, we decided to present a video because sometimes it's where images are better than words. And basically, I just wanted to give a few extra words regarding the collaboration and the strategic partnership. So this SolKelp project actually is born from a collaboration, a long-term interaction already, I would say since 2011 or 12, between us, Alga Plus, and the company Seaweed Solutions from Norway. We've been discussing for many years the complementarity between each other, and SolKelp gave us the opportunity to make it official. So we complement each other in terms of technical know-how and geographic position. And this brings us benefits in terms of production, but also our sales strategies, helping us to increase both our business profitability across Europe. The SolKelp project, as you've seen, is a strong axis of development in growing kelp and testing the viability of growing kelp in offshore in Portugal. And for that, we are also counting with the Instituto Hidrográfico and the company Into-Sea for the activities happening at sea. Okay. And then CIMAR for giving us the support in terms of biological science, but mostly for the initial phases of identifying the local kelp species and deploying the first activities related to kelp hatchery. We are really sure of this, the advantages of this collaboration program. For us, it is, as I mentioned, I'm saying in Portuguese, culminar, the achievement of this long-term interaction and being able to really grow together the two pioneer companies of seaweed in Europe. We really believe that there's more things that can be done, and I'm sure we will be able to collaborate in other axes of development together. But I think it's for us, the companies involved, we are really keen in executing this project and make it a success story, basically. So we are open to any questions that you may have afterwards.
Thank you very much, Helena. Now, the last presentation will be dedicated to the mobile station project from the promoter Flying Sharks. Please, Mr. João Correia, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning. So let me share. Okay, is everything okay? Can you see the presentation and hear me fine?
It's perfect. Thank you, João.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, so regards to everyone who's listening to this presentation, and obviously especially to DGPM for putting this wonderful event together. So I'll give you just a brief overview of live fish transport over the years, particularly where Flying Sharks is concerned. And then I'll jump into the actual mobile station that we're working on. I'll excuse me if I speak too fast, but I have a few slides and I don't want to run over my time. So this is yours truly, back in '95, taking care of some sand tiger sharks at the Lisbon Zoo. Back in these days, so these sharks flew in from South Africa, from Gansbaai, and then they flew to Barcelona. And this is how big sharks were moved, you know, inside these big boxes that very much look like a coffin. These were not very good boxes or tanks to move sharks, to be completely honest. This is another shark being moved from Marathon Quay to Lisbon, to the Oceanário de Lisboa in '99. I regret to say that occasionally when moving sharks with these big boxes and filtration, there were some losses, which of course did not make anyone happy, and we worked very hard to improve that, as you will see over the next few slides. Now, I was behind the camera on this picture. This is on the right, Mark Smith, an Australian who was in charge of the Oceanário, and on the left you have João Falcato, who is now the administrator of the Oceanário. And here we are in '98 with a bunch of tanks with the sharks and rays and other fish, moving them to the Oceanário in Lisbon. As you can see there, we didn't have oxygen probes, no pH probes, no pH buffers to buffer the water, or Amquel, which is a compound we use to detoxify ammonia in the water. So back in these days, very much the only thing we did was to open the lid of the tank, look inside, and see if there were bubbles, if there was oxygen bubbles. And if we had bubbles, everything was fine. If there were no bubbles, then we had a problem. So it was all very rudimentary, as you can see. Here we are, João Falcato and myself in Florida, preparing the tanks, just literally putting the tanks together, hammering down the pallets and putting everything together from scratch. Now, we did get some reputation for being good with live fish transports, particularly with sharks, but not just exclusively. So back in 2002, 2003, colleagues from all over the world basically started hiring me to organize their transports. And here we are inside the big Boeing 747, going from Marathon Key to Valencia in Spain, to the Oceanographic, the aquarium. At this point, we already had just a little more sophistication. We were using oxygen probes and pH probes just to measure water quality along the way, along the transport. You'll see in the image oxygen cylinders and 12-volt batteries for the filtration, but still no chemicals, no pH buffers or Amquel, and which was very much the case here. Already has flying sharks, so no longer working for the Oceanario. But here we are moving sunfish. There's one sunfish inside each of those 4 tanks, and we're moving them from Portugal to Atlanta. And the last leg of the trip was actually quite cool. This picture was taken at the JFK airport in New York, and we flew on that DC-4, 1943 DC-4. We flew from Atlanta to from JFK to Atlanta with these sunfish, but still very unsophisticated methods, as you can see. Now these are some meager, some curvinas in Portuguese that we moved from Olhão in the south of Portugal to Tarragona in Spain. And this time we moved these using these standard aquaculture trucks. These are very normal trucks with multiple tanks, no filtration. Usually all they have built into them is oxygen. And quite honestly, we felt that we could do a little better than this. I mean, there were no mortalities, but we know that this is how regularly animals are moved in between aquaculture facilities. And we always thought that maybe we could improve that a little bit. This was our biggest operation so far, although we're working on actually something a little bigger now. We moved quite a few fish, 3,200 fish to Istanbul back in 2010. This was 2 airplanes completely packed. These are my friends from the Azores, Telmo, my business partner, who's in the audience, and I'll take this time to send Telmo a big fat hug. And all our staff, most of them my students, because I teach marine biology. And here are, everybody in the Azores taking care of these fish inside 40-foot shipping containers for months and months. Very, very hard work. But the transport units inside one of the 2 airplanes, as you can see, they're actually a little more sophisticated than before. We did have oxygen and pH probes. We did have quite a bit of chemicals that we used to buffer the water to keep both pH stable and ammonia as close to 0 as possible. Here we are moving some 2,000 mackerel and quite a few other animals, some teleosts, a few rays as well, that were moved from the Azores to Lisbon, and then by ship. And then by road, we drove all the way to Königswinter and Stralsund, which is in the north of Germany. This trip took 11 days from the time the first fish were packed in the container, a few days before the vessel cast off from the Azores, until the very last fish was delivered in Germany. These animals were in transit for 11 days and we had 0 mortalities. And as you can see in the image, we're very paranoid about our water quality. We stop every 3-4 hours. We measure pH, ammonia, and all the parameters. And here we are again, more recently, moving quite a few salmon from Norway. We did the same from Ireland more recently also. To our friends Ricardo Calado in Ecomar. I think I saw Ricardo in the audience as well. So here's another big fat hug to Ricardo and our friends from the University of Aveiro. And here we are moving these animals. And as you can see, our buffering technique is actually quite robust at this point. And you can see that pH just beautifully stable throughout the 3 days of trip. Now, A big hug to our friends from the Marine and Freshwater Research Institute in Iceland, who are actually our partners in this Eea Grants project that I will be presenting from the next slide on. These are some codfish that we moved from them back in 2019 to the Ylövu Museum. If you haven't had the chance to go to Ylövu and see these live codfish, please do so. We've been working with our friends from Iceland for quite a few years, and they are working with us as well on this transport unit, which is what you see right here. So here's what we thought. Fish transports are always done in a rush. The minute we put the first fish in the tank, we look at the clock and we're on the clock, and we want to get to the destination as far as possible because we're terrified that anything horrible may happen along the way. And we basically use all the tanks that you've seen in the previous slides, but we suddenly stopped to think, wait a minute, how come we keep fish in our holding station for years and years and years, and we have absolutely zero mortalities, and we're always rushing when we're moving fish to our clients? So the new paradigm here was that this transport unit was in fact a mobile holding station. So this is like putting wheels on our holding station, and we can basically move these fish wherever we want in the world. We can in fact move this thing to Vladivostok and be there for months collecting fish, and then take 2 months driving back if we want to. The filtration is state of the art. It's basically the same filtration you would find in our holding station, both in the Azores or in Peniche, which I will take this time to invite you to come and see us either in Peniche or in Orta. Now, some technical specifications. I don't want to run over my time. So this is a 40-foot container. There will, of course, be temperature control. We can move fish in warm water or in very cold water. We can move it by sea. We can move it by road. Obviously, it'll be prepared to receive or to work with all sorts of different voltages, because we do work quite a bit in America with 110 volts. We work with trucks that operate on 24 volts. We work with boats that operate on 380 volts. So we have to be prepared for all of these options. Lighting is extremely important when you're working with fish. You want to make sure that they have a very calm environment. You don't want to open the lids of the tanks and everything becomes very, very bright and the fish bang against the wall. So lighting is absolutely important. Very, very advanced life support system with protein skimmers, ultraviolet lighting to kill all the bacteria and everything in the tanks. Although the water parameters will be corrected automatically, and we will in fact be able to be in the car behind the holding station and just look on our phones and then see what the water parameters are like, and look at a camera and see what's happening, because we will have a router which will generate its own network, so we can see what's happening inside. Needless to say, a coffee machine is very important in these operations, because we do drink quite a bit of Red Bull to keep things going. But hopefully with this mobile holding station, which is already being built, we won't need to rush anymore. So I'll just take this time once again to thank everybody for listening, to thank DGPM for putting this event together. And obviously, I'd like to thank the program, the Eea Grants, for subsidizing this project. It's our most ambitious thus far. It started last October, and this unit is currently being built. And hopefully in one of the upcoming events we have, I will show you some actual photos of the unit with water and fish being moved around the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, João Correia. We thank all the promoters for their excellent and interesting presentations. Now we will make a short break. The webinar is closed and the matchmaking will start on the B2Match platform at 12 Lisbon hour, 11 a.m. in Iceland, and 1 p.m. in Norway. Thank you very much for your